absolute pest on the floor.
Right.
That's what he is defensively. And this is what Indiana did last night. They set tempo with their defense, forcing 21 turnovers. Look at the pass coming up.
How's that calf look
Oh,
right
look at
now?
it, guys. It feels great.
Yeah.
Aaron Nesmith in the corner. Pacers up 13. Halliburton and company fired up. His calf looked really good. Allen, he looked good all night. Made 3 of 3, or excuse me, 3 threes last night for 14 points.
30-footer as well right there. Shows you. Watch this, too. This is just a broken play. All he's doing right there is just finding the basketball.
Look out, pass.
And that is
Look out.
Show that pass again, please.
We're going to give you a couple of calls on this as the morning continues. The call on this in Portuguese was epic. Look at the no look.
What?
Siakam throws it down, a 20-point Pacer lead, closing seconds of the half. Jay, you've been calling for Siakam this entire series. He gave you 16 last night.
When the game slows down and in the half court, Pascal Siakam and CJ McConnell are the most effective players.
And then the second half, let's just say it, Thunder, no fight at all.
No show. They didn't score for the first 5 minutes of the half.
The lead extending there. They closed the first half, Indy did, on a 30-9 run, and then in the third quarter, it just turned into a complete blowout. Obi Toppin, no. Final seconds of the third quarter. Shepherd, yes. Thunder starters did not play in the entire fourth quarter. The Pacers had 6 players score in double figures. Pacers win a laugher, 108-91. We will get a Game 7 on Sunday night.
All of us got to give everything we have. You know, I give everything I have for this group in this locker room. So just trying to come out here and play the best of my ability. My guys have had my back all year, and especially tonight, and that means the world to me.
The way I see it is we suck tonight. We have to learn the lessons. And we have one game for everything we've worked for. And so do they. And the better team Sunday will win.
Okay, put your feet up. We got a lot of time. Uday has made it, so we're delighted to have Udonis Haslem back on the program. But, Keith, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to give you your props. You called your shot. You were the one person this whole week on this show who kept saying over and over again, Indiana's going to win. You've been calling it. What did you see last night? What's your number one takeaway from a Game 6 blowout?
Greeny, my number one takeaway has been the same thing the entire playoffs, right? It's taking care of the ball. Turnovers has been the biggest thing for OKC, right? They average 25 points a game off turnovers, right? So if you don't give them that, obviously they can't score as much. You take away those 25 that they get, they can't score as much, right? And Indiana did a great job of pushing the pace and just playing the same way, right? I was talking about how if Halliburton plays or he don't, they still play the exact same game, right? And yesterday, that was a beautiful brand of basketball. By the time the second half started, they already had 6 or 7 players that scored 8 or more points, man. That's extremely hard to stop. And OKC never could bounce back because of the pressure and because of the intensity that Indiana played with.
UD, we were sitting around here this morning trying to figure out how OKC shows up like that. Maybe it's a sign of their youth or whatever the case may be, but with a chance to close out an NBA championship, to put up a performance like that, UD, how do you explain it?
I think none of those guys have ever been there before. If you look at that roster and you talk about what Alex Caruso was able to do, he did get a ring, but that was in the bubble. It's a different situation when you step into a road game on the road. And I've been in Indiana before, and I know what that crowd brings. So that's a very intimidating situation. And the OKC team has showed a lot of growth throughout this playoffs. They're well beyond their years with their maturity. But I think last night was the first time that we probably saw that sign of immaturity kind of creep in a little bit. And once again, the inexperience of being in the finals and on the road. Nobody has had that experience on that team in that locker room.
I'm going to tell you guys something. I was extremely disappointed in watching OKC last night for not matching the intensity of how Indiana came out in that game. Tyrese Halliburton, shout out to him for stepping up in the second quarter and really setting the tone for his team, even though at 14 points. But we talk about 21 turnovers, right? And that led to fast break points for Indiana. SGA did not play like the MVP last night. Nope. He did not. I get it, 21 points on 15 shots. That's 10 less field goal attempts that he's taken in this entire series, and 2 assists and 8 turnovers. So that was a very young team having a young moment. Yeah. And for as much as everybody is like, hey, they always bounce back the game after they lose, we haven't been seeing them bounce back in a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. I'm worried about OKC. The door is open for Indy.
You should be. And can we now put the brakes on the Jordan Pippen comparisons and all that stuff, right? Like, this is a really young team, and they showed it in that game on the road in that type of an environment. You had to know you were going to get the best punch. That second quarter, that really was the game, the second quarter. Then you come out in the half, your coach makes an adjustment to your lineup, and it leads to nothing. So that team is in a lot of trouble. But it's not just on the court you're seeing it. You're seeing, to me, a master at work in Coach Rick Carlisle. And what he has done adjusting throughout this series, really throughout this playoffs. It's the 10th game they've won where they've been the underdog. They are always fighting against anyone believing in them, but he keeps making adjustments that the other team takes an entire game to figure out. This adjustment was the way they defended. They did not pick up 50 feet, 60 feet from the basket on SGA. They dropped 30 feet and said, we're going to get you on the other side now of the timeline, and we're going to mess up your offense, and that led to a lot of turnovers. That's one of them. But you know what else? Rick Carlisle has his bench players ready to go. Yeah. That Pacers bench played great. Not only T.J. McConnell, Obi Toppin, and what he's been doing in this game, coming into games. They're going to guys deep in the bench, and they're getting quality minutes. That's great coaching. And if the Pacers win, I'll say it again, if they win this championship, whoever wins MVP should hand the trophy to their coach because he's the MVP.
I don't disagree with the word that you were saying. You're there in person. What did you see in Haliburton? That was obviously the big story going into the game yesterday was how would he look? To me, just watching on TV, it looked to me, I barely saw anything. They obviously didn't have him bringing the ball up the floor, which maybe gave him the opportunity to rest the leg a little bit. How did he look to you?
I mean, I think Tricky Ricky played a little possum with us yesterday. I think he got us a little bit in. If you've been in this league a long time, you understand how it is. We tend to over-exaggerate injuries sometimes in the playoffs, and we don't let on to the other team how hurt we are or how unhurt we might be. Mm-hmm. I think he got away with one yesterday. I think the other team came in, they kind of let off the gas a little bit. They've been hearing the last couple of days, Haliburton's calf. Is he going to play? Oh, we're going to set a lineup up just in case he does not play. We're going to have other guys ready. That was a smokescreen. Everybody knew that he was going to play. I think OKC fell for the old Statue of Liberty banana in the tailpipe yesterday. And I think Indiana just imposed their will. I think this series has come down to each game who's going to impose their will. I think Indiana imposed their will. And I am one of the ones that have said Indiana was going to win this in 7, so I am happy to see this go 7.
All right, way to go.
Okay.
I mean, it's good picks. We've missed you here.
I subtle flex, UD.
I like it, too. And I will say this. I fell for the banana in the tailpipe. I would like to retract everything I said the last 2 days about how Haliburton shouldn't play and take into account the rest of his career because it's more important than any one game. I take all that back, obviously. And then Markieff, should he get better? Now, whatever it is, however hampered he actually is by this injury, which is a legitimate injury, should he be that much better by Sunday than he was even on Thursday?
I mean, obviously, you have to go right into rehab mode and do as much as you can to get him better. But quite honestly, he looked good to me, right? Like the last couple games, this game, he's been pushing the pace and he was actually creating his shot off the dribble. He didn't get downhill as much, but he played vertical. He played side to side a lot. He was shifty and trying to get his three off. And then defensively, he was in the passing lane. So if you can get a repeat action of what he did in Game 6, then I think you should be good for Game 7. He looks good to me.
Absolutely. So, look, this has been a postseason where nothing has made sense. The team that you expect to win a game almost never does. So I give up on trying to predict what's going to happen in Game 7. But, Jay, I think it is worth saying again, in a playoff year where 20-point deficits have been overcomable, the Thunder did not come out in the third quarter at all. They're down 22 at the half. Make your adjustments, whatever it is. We have seen teams repeatedly come back from big deficits in this postseason. For them not to put up what even perceived to be any fight in the third quarter was disappointing, to say the least.
It was extremely disappointing. I think that's the concern that you have. And look, I get that Daigneault and SGA are always cool, calm, and collective at the podium, right? But when you go home, I don't know if you're that cool, calm, and collective. It's one thing to say that, but all those things that lead into a Game 7 for a young team with your legacy on the line, who's had one of the best regular seasons that we've seen in a long time, and that's a lot of pressure on the home team. It does feel like Indy is playing with house money.
House money. It's Game 7. No one's playing with house money, Jay. But I agree in the fact that OKC has got to look at this as we were talking about with Haliburton playing the other day, and should he play and all that stuff. And you're like, no, because you never know when you're getting back here. If you're the Thunder, we've talked about this could be the start of a dynasty. I don't know now. I don't know, but I don't know if they're ever getting back here either, and they've got to play with that same urgency now.
Why I said it was house money, because if you're Rick Carlisle, like this is going to, everybody's counting Indy out.
Yeah.
Everybody's counting Indy out. Just look, it's bulletin board material everywhere you look about how great this OKC team is, all the historical numbers defensively about how great they are. Okay, let's go into their house. Let's get it in their house.
Yeah, UD, I can see you nodding along. It does feel like Indiana's season, I'm sure they'll be devastated if they lose on Sunday, but their season is a massive success no matter what happens. If the Thunder lose this game on Sunday night, I feel like there will be a different sensation for them. What are your thoughts, UD?
I think I think the whole world is the only people that don't believe that Indiana's win this. I think Indiana believes that they can win this championship regardless of what anybody else thinks. I've been in locker rooms where we listen to the chatter of the media where they say that team doesn't have a chance and this team should be up and this series should be over. I've been in those locker rooms. They've been using that as gasoline. Mm-hmm. The power of the brotherhood has brought this team together. You see my boy James Johnson get in last night, 30 seconds got kicked out. 30 seconds got kicked out. Let me say something. If I wasn't more proud to watch that as like a proud dad moment, the leadership, the coaching, the brotherhood, the connection. No, they do not have a superstar, but everybody on that team stars in their role. I believe in this team. I am a believer.
Look, and you have been right all along, and Keith has been right all along, and I would just like to retract also my use of the word sensation. I haven't slept much lately. I'm not sure why I went with that.
I didn't want to say anything. Here,
it's going to be a different feeling. Yeah, sensation is not the word I was shooting for there, but we move on. Much more, obviously, on the finals as we continue, and then we have this that might drop right in the middle of it. Is the Kevin Durant domino about to fall as soon as today or this weekend? To listen to Shams, you would think the answer is yes. You're going to hear from Shams coming up. Plus, Shedeur Sanders getting a bunch of attention for all the wrong reasons.